The wind howled through the desert, lifting sand in small waves across the scorched ground. Above, two suns burned red and gold in the sky. And in the middle of this wasteland stood a tall, armored figure, an alien mercenary named Revexa. Her skin was dark gray with glowing blue markings, and her eyes shimmered like sharp ice. She wasn't here for fun. She was here for a job, a dangerous one, and it started with a map. The map wasn't made of paper. It was a living crystal, stolen from a dying warlord who had whispered with his last breath, the treasure. It's in the human, the one with the flame between his legs. Revexa didn't laugh then. She had heard crazier things in her time, but the crystal map had activated when she touched it, forming symbols that floated in the air. It pointed to one planet, only Earth. Now she was here, tracking someone she had never met, a human named Eli Carter. Revexa walked into the quiet Earth town like a shadow. Nobody noticed her. Thanks to her holographic disguise, she had scanned every database she could find and traced the location to a desert repair outpost. Eli Carter worked there alone, fixing old machines and broken vehicles to the world. He was nothing special, just a mechanic with no family, no military training, no fame. But to Revexa, he was a target, or maybe a key. She found him crouched near a busted rover, grease on his hands, humming to himself. His brown hair was messy, and his clothes were dusty. But something about him, it ticked something deep inside the map. It started glowing again. Revexa's heart beat faster. This was him, the one, but why? She watched him from the shadows, not ready to strike. She had killed many people in her life, but this was different. She didn't know what the treasure was, only that it was inside him. And she needed to find out before others did, because someone else was already searching for the same thing. That night, under the desert stars, Revexa set up her scanner from the cliff above Eli's camp. The machine buzzed and pulsed, reading the air, the ground, and the human's life signals. Suddenly, the scanner blinked red and let out a sharp tone. Gene match confirmed, it said in her alien tongue. Keyholder detected. Target is active. Vault protocol unlocked. What vault? Revexa whispered, but no answer came. Instead, the map in her hand began to glow brighter than ever. Lines spread from it like veins of light, and they all pointed toward Eli down below. Eli rubbed his neck like he felt something crawling under his skin. He looked up toward the hills, but saw no one. Revexa knew now he wasn't just a carrier. He was a living piece of ancient technology. His DNA had been changed, maybe before birth, maybe through bloodlines long forgotten, and whatever he held, others would kill for it. A noise behind her made her spin. A drone hovered above the rocks, black, silent, and deadly. It scanned her once and fired a plasma shot. Revexa rolled and returned fire, blasting the drone into ash. But it was too late. Others were coming. The signal had gone out. Someone else knew Eli was the key now. Revexa looked down at the peaceful camp where the humans slept under the stars. He had no idea what he carried inside him, no clue that his body held something ancient, powerful, and dangerous. She could walk away, sell the map, let others do the dirty work. But something inside her twisted. Maybe it was the way he looked at the stars, like he still believed in peace. Or maybe it was the feeling she had, the one that told her Eli didn't deserve what was coming. Revexa made a decision, one she might regret. She would take him, study him, protect him, if needed. Not for credits, but because something bigger was at play. And the galaxy didn't need another war over power hidden in a man's blood. As she climbed down the ridge, her eyes fixed on the sleeping human, the map pulsed again, whispering a word in her head, awakening, and just like that, the true hunt began. Eli Carter woke up with a strange feeling in his chest, like something inside him had moved. He rubbed his eyes and sat up in his small tent. The desert morning was quiet, too quiet. Even the wind didn't whistle through the dunes like it normally did. He stood up and stretched. Unaware that someone was watching him from the shadows, Ravexa hid behind the rocks, her breath slow, her heart calm. She had spent the night thinking about what to do. She had been trained to complete missions without asking questions. Take the target, deliver it, get paid. But this one? This one was different. Eli wasn't a weapon. He was a human. Normal in every way except for the burning energy deep inside his body. Energy that her scanner said could open vaults, awaken lost machines, and maybe even change worlds. She couldn't. Just hand him over. Not yet. Eli walked toward his workbench and poured himself some water. That's when Ravexa moved, silently, quickly, in a flash. She was behind him before he could turn around. A soft click echoed through the morning air. He felt the cold press of metal at the back of his neck. "Don't move," she said, in a calm, deep voice. Eli froze, his hands raised slightly. His heart beat faster. "Who are you?" he asked. "I'm not here to kill you," she said. "I need answers, and so do you." She pressed a small device to the back of his neck. It beeped and flashed blue, scanning his nervous system, muscles, and DNA structure. Eli flinched, but didn't resist. Then something strange happened. The device sparked and exploded in her hand. A wave of golden light pulsed from Eli's body. Knocking Ravexa back 5 steps, her armor flickered, and her real alien form was revealed for a moment tall, fierce, and glowing with blue lines across her skin. Eli stumbled away, eyes wide. "What the hell was that? Who are you?" he shouted. Ravexa stood up slowly, staring at him. "You're activated," she said in shock. "I touched you, and it reacted. The treasure. It's alive." Eli looked down at his chest, his skin glowing faintly under his shirt. He felt hot, but not like fever, like a fire was running through his veins. "What did you do to me?" "I didn't do anything," she said, walking toward him carefully, but something inside you woke up. Eli backed up, grabbing a wrench. "Stay back. Alien, or whatever you are, I'm a mercenary," she said honestly. "I was sent to find you because of a map." "A map?" he asked. Confused, Ravexa opened her hand, revealing the glowing crystal map. It floated in the air and projected an image of Eli's face, along with ancient alien symbols and coordinates pointing to places across the galaxy. "You're connected to all of this," she said. "This map calls you the keybearer. I'm just a mechanic." Eli said, shaking his head. "I fix broken machines. I don't open space doors." "You are more than that now," she said softly. "I don't think you were chosen by mistake." He looked at her carefully, still breathing hard. Her eyes were honest, serious, and even though she looked like something from a nightmare, her voice wasn't cruel. It was calm, maybe even kind. "So what now?" he asked. "They're coming," she said, turning toward the horizon. "Others like me, hunters, warlords, pirates. They want what's inside you. They'll rip it out if they have to." Eli felt sick. "Great, just what I needed. You need to come with me," she said. "I can protect you, learn more about your power, and maybe keep you alive." He hesitated. "And what do you want from me?" She looked at him for a long time before answering, "I don't know yet." That was the first honest thing any alien had ever said to him. Later that day, they left the desert camp behind. Ravexa cloaked their tracks, and they moved quickly into the canyons. Every now and then, the map would glow when Eli walked past certain rocks or caves. It was like the planet itself was reacting to him. That night, by a small fire, Eli sat in silence, watching her clean her weapons. "What if I really am some kind of treasure?" He asked. "What happens if someone unlocks me?" Ravexa looked into the flames. "Then the galaxy may burn, or it may be saved." Eli let out a slow breath. Well, no pressure. She smiled slightly. The first time she had ever done that, and as the stars glowed above, Revexa knew this was no longer just a mission. The map had changed everything for her and for him. The treasure wasn't gold or tech. It was him, and now they were running from a galaxy that wanted to steal it. The desert winds grew colder as night fell again. Revexa and Eli found shelter inside a cave carved into a rocky cliff. The glowing embers of their small fire flickered softly across the stone walls. Outside, the world was quiet, but inside, both of them, questions screamed louder than ever. Eli sat near the fire, arms wrapped around his knees. His mind spun with thoughts he couldn't control. What had he become? Why did alien tech react to him? And why had this mercenary who was trained to kill decided not to finish the job? Revexa sat nearby, checking her weapons, but her mind wasn't on the rifle in her hands. It was on the human staring into the flames like a man who had just been told he was no longer human. He hadn't asked her the question yet, but she knew it was coming. Finally, Eli spoke, his voice quiet. "You were supposed to take me, right? Deliver me to whoever paid you. Why didn't you do it? Why am I still breathing?" Revexa looked up slowly. "I don't know," she said honestly. "Maybe because I don't like delivering people like packages, or maybe because, when I touched you, something inside me changed too." Eli raised an eyebrow. "You're saying I changed you?" "I've hunted targets across 12 systems," she replied, "but never one that made the map light up like a sun. Never one who made my heart hesitate." Eli didn't know what to say to that. He looked at the glowing map crystal she still carried. It hummed when he got close, like it was breathing with him. He leaned back against the wall. "I had a simple life," he whispered. "I fixed things. I had peace. Now everyone's chasing me for something I don't even understand." "You were never meant to stay hidden," Revexa said. "You're a key. And someone locked away the truth inside you." Suddenly, the cave trembled. Dust fell from above. Revexa stood instantly, her weapon raised. Eli scrambled up, eyes wide. What was that? Revexa scanned the entrance. "Incoming," she said. Another mercenary. Or worse, a low growl echoed outside, then a heavy metal footstep, then another. A shadow moved at the edge of the entrance, something large, armored, and covered in dark spikes. "Stay back," Revexa whispered, stepping. In front of Eli, a tall alien stepped into the firelight, its face hidden under a jagged helmet. Its voice was rough and broken. "Revexa," it said, "you didn't complete the mission." "Now I will, Zarn," she muttered, her eyes narrowing. He was a mercenary like her, only crueler. Hungrier. He never left targets alive. He had no rules. "Step aside," Zarn growled. "The human belongs to the highest bidder now." Revexa raised her weapon. "Not anymore." Zarn laughed, a cold, metallic sound. "You've gone soft," he said. "Is he that special? He doesn't even know what's inside him." "I know enough," Eli said, stepping forward. "I'm not going with you." "Then I'll take you in pieces," Zarn said, charging forward. The fight exploded inside the cave. Plasma blasts lit up the stone walls. Revexa moved fast, blocking Zarn's strikes and firing back with deadly precision. But he was stronger, more brutal. He slammed her against the wall, her weapon clattering to the ground. Eli grabbed a rock and hurled it, hitting Zarn's helmet. "Leave her alone," he shouted. Zarn turned and swung a heavy arm at Eli, knocking him back, but as he moved closer, the map crystal still hanging near Ravesa flashed bright gold. A wave of energy burst out from Eli again, knocking Zarn off his feet. The ground cracked. Glowing symbols appeared beneath Eli's shoes, ancient runes. Alive again, Revexa used the moment to grab her second weapon and fired 3 plasma shots into Zarn's chest. The armored beast fell back, twitching, then stopped moving. The cave was silent again. Only the sound of Eli's breathing and the soft glow of the runes filled the space. Eli dropped to one knee, his hands shaking. "What? What am I becoming?" he whispered. Ravixan knelt beside him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You're not becoming anything," she said softly. "You already are something. Something the galaxy thought was gone forever." Eli looked into her eyes. "And now that I've used this, whatever power it is, won't more of them come?" Ravexa nodded. "Yes, they'll come in ships, armies, maybe even governments." Eli stood slowly. "Then we keep moving," he said. "We find out what I'm supposed to unlock. And we stop anyone who wants to use me like a tool." Ravexa smiled again twice in 2 days, a new record for her. "You're not just a job anymore," she said. "You're a partner now." As they left the cave, the map pulsed once more. It showed a symbol in the sky, a temple buried beneath the surface of an alien moon. The next piece of the puzzle had revealed itself, and they would face it together. The stars above shimmered like silver dust scattered across a black sea. Ravexa guided the stolen skimmer through the silence of space, her fingers steady on the controls. Eli sat beside her, staring at the glowing map crystal in his hand. It pulsed softly alive, guiding them toward a forgotten moon it had taken them to. Days to escape Earth's orbit without being tracked. 2 days of hiding, running, sleeping in shifts, and now the crystal finally revealed their next destination, a dead moon called Zarth. 4. No cities, no settlements, just old ruins buried beneath ice and stone. But the crystal called it the Temple of the Flesh Key. Ravexa looked over at Eli, his jaw tight, his eyes uncertain. "You sure you want to keep going?" she asked. "Once we open that door, things might never go back to normal." Eli gave a tired smile. "Normal ended the moment you kidnapped me." She smirked. "Fair point." The ship broke through the thin atmosphere, landing in a deep crater. Surrounded by jagged ice cliffs, the place was eerily silent, like the moon had forgotten how to breathe. They stepped out in thermal suits, their boots crunching over ice and ash. The wind whispered through the ruins and changed pillars, broken archways, and frozen alien statues buried halfway in the snow. Eli touched one of the statues, and the air around it shimmered. The crystal in his hand glowed brightly, sending a pulse. Into the ground, the ice cracked and began to split open. A wide, spiraled staircase revealed itself, leading downward into darkness. Ravexa held up her blaster, her eyes scanning every inch. "Stay behind me," she said. But Eli didn't listen. He walked forward, drawn by something he didn't understand. It wasn't a voice in his head, but more like a heartbeat. Slow and ancient, calling him home, they descended into the temple. The air growing warmer with every step, soft lights flickered along the walls, as if welcoming them. Strange carvings covered every surface, symbols that moved like water when Eli passed by. Ravexa reached out to touch one, but it didn't respond to her. "Only to him, this place is alive," Eli whispered, "and it knows me." They reached a chamber at the end of the staircase, a wide circular room with a pedestal in the center. Atop it sat a strange device, a metal sphere covered in small cuts and slots, like it was waiting for something organic to complete it. Eli stepped forward, but Ravexa stopped him. "We don't know what it does," she warned. "It could kill you." "I think it's the opposite," he said. "I think it's a door, and I'm the key." He placed his hand on the sphere. It clicked, twisted, and then opened, not outward, but inward. Thin metallic tendrils shot out and wrapped around his fingers gently. There was no pain, only warmth, then a pulse, and a soft hum that filled the chamber. The walls lit up with a glowing pattern, showing a Galaxy map with dozens of points blinking red. At the center of it all was one word in ancient script. Revexa translated it aloud, her voice shaking. Sanctum. Suddenly, a beam of light emerged from the pedestal and shot upward through the ceiling. Into the sky, it was a signal. Ravix's eyes widened. You just activated something. Everywhere, Eli stumbled back, breathing hard. I didn't. Mean to, he said. I just touched it. But the temple had more surprises. The floor beneath them began to shift, revealing rows of glass chambers hidden below. Inside them were bodies, alien and human-like, perfectly preserved. Some were young, others old, all frozen in time. What is this place? Eli whispered, staring in horror. Revixa scanned one of the pods. These aren't just bodies, she said slowly. They're failed keybearers. They tried this before. Eli stepped back, his stomach turning, and they didn't survive. But you did, Revexa said, looking at him with something more than awe, something like fear. You activated the temple. You lived. The realization hit them both at the same time. Eli wasn't just the first to carry the gene, he might be the only one who could survive what was coming. A prophecy, a design, or just luck, whatever it was. He was different. But before they could say more, Revex's comlink crackled. A voice came through, low and harsh. This is Commander Taurix of the Crimson Syndicate. You have 10 minutes to surrender the human before this moon becomes dust. Revex's heart dropped. They found us, she said, grabbing Eli's arm. We have to go, now. They rushed back through the temple, the walls shaking around them. Eli looked back once, the image of the sleeping bodies burning into his mind. Whatever this power was. It came with a cost. As they reached the surface, the sky above burned. Red ships entering orbit, preparing to attack, but Eli didn't run blindly anymore. He ran with purpose, because he knew now the key was real, and it was inside him. Revexa slammed the controls of the stolen ship, lifting it off Sereth, for just as red laser fire lit the skies behind them. Their vessels shook violently as shockwaves from the blast rumbled across the crater. Eli gripped the seat beside her, his knuckles white, his heart racing below them. The ancient temple collapsed into a fiery grave, lost again to the sands of time. They destroyed it, he whispered. All those bodies, all that knowledge gone, they didn't come for the temple. Revexa said, her jaw tight, they came for you. Eli looked down at his shaking hands. Something inside him had changed after touching the pedestal. He could still feel a strange warmth flowing through his veins. A connection to the map, to the galaxy, to something greater than himself, as the ship escaped orbit. Revexa set coordinates for a hidden moon station deep in outlaw territory. We need answers, she said, and we need to lose whoever's tracking us. Eli didn't speak. His thoughts were heavy. He was tired of running, tired of being treated like a thing, not a person. Hours later, the ship docked inside a dark spaceport, surrounded by old satellites and forgotten ships. They entered quietly, Revexa keeping her hood up, her blaster close. This place was dangerous, filled with thieves, bounty hunters, and traitors who would sell their own mother for a few credits. But this was where they needed to be. Because here underneath all the filth was the black auction, a secret marketplace where forbidden items, stolen tech, and even living beings were sold to the highest bidder. Eli hated every second of it. Cages lined the walls, filled with alien creatures and hybrid beings. Some reached out as he walked past, begging in different languages. He clenched his fists, feeling helpless. Why? Are we here? He asked, his voice low. To send a message, Revexa answered, and to set a trap. Inside the main chamber, buyers from different species sat around a glowing auction ring. Revexa whispered into her comms, feeding false information into The black market system, she made it look like she was ready to sell Eli to the highest bidder. Moments later, screens around the room lit up with his image. The key-bearer, one alien whispered with greed. "Impossible," said another. "He's just a human." "Exactly." Revexa murmured under her breath. "That's what makes him dangerous." The bidding began. 50 million credits. 70, 100 million. Eli's heart sank. He stared at Revexa with disbelief. "You said you weren't going to sell me." He whispered, "Trust me." She replied coldly, her eyes focused. Just then, the lights flickered, and the floor beneath the auction ring dropped open from below. 4 heavily armed bounty hunters rose into view, guns raised, armor gleaming. They weren't bidders, they were killers. "They took the bait," Revexa said. Pulling out her blaster, "Now we clean house." The room erupted into chaos. Revexa dove behind cover. Firing with deadly precision, Eli ducked as a plasma bolt flew past his head. He crawled toward a broken shield panel and grabbed a small pulse grenade from a fallen guard. He didn't know exactly how to use it, but he had seen Revexa throw one before, with shaking hands. He activated it and tossed it toward the lead hunter. The explosion sent him flying. Disabling his power suit, Eli stood, shocked by what he had just done. Revexa nodded from across the room. "You're learning." Within minutes, the battle was over. The floor was scorched, and smoke curled toward the broken ceiling. The remaining bidders had either run or played dead. Revexa stood among the wreckage. Calm and steady, Eli beside her, still breathing hard. "You lied to them," he said quietly, "but you also lied to me." She turned to face him, her expression unreadable. "I had to make it look real," she said. "If even one of them suspected it was a trap, they would have backed off. But you were willing to let them bid," Eli said, hurt in his voice. "You let them put a price on me." "I'm trying to keep you alive," she replied. "And if faking a sale saves your life, I'll do it again." He looked away, the weight of everything pressing on his chest. "I don't want to be a key, Revexa. I want to be me. I didn't ask for this." "I know," she said softly, stepping closer. "And I didn't ask to care this much." That caught him off guard. He looked into her eyes, saw something behind them, something more than just duty. Trust, maybe, or guilt, or even something. Like affection, before either could say more, the map crystal blinked again. Another location had appeared this time. Not a ruin, but a ship. A massive one buried in deep orbit. Surrounded by dead satellites and ancient debris. This might be the final vault," Revexa said, her voice low. "And it looks like they locked it so only someone like you can get in." Eli let out a slow breath. "Then, let's go open it." The ship drifted quietly in orbit, hidden behind clouds of broken satellites and asteroid debris. Its dark surface was scarred with a jet. Something about it felt untouched. Sacred Eli stood at the edge of the cockpit window, staring at the massive vault ship that floated ahead. It wasn't built by humans or even modern aliens. It was something much older. Revexa stood behind him, silent. They had been flying toward this place for hours. Now that it was here, neither of them could breathe easy. "That's the Sanctum ship," she said finally. "The last known vault left by the ancients." Eli turned to face her. "And I'm the only one who can open it." "According to the map, yes," she nodded. "Your DNA is the key, your blood. Your body, it was made for this." Eli sat down slowly. "I didn't ask to be a key. I didn't ask to be hunted or sold. I just wanted to fix machines. Live a quiet life." Revexa walked over, crouching in front of him. "I know," she said gently. "And I didn't ask to care about you, but I do." He looked up, surprised. She never showed emotions, never spoke like this, but now. Her voice wasn't the voice of a mercenary. It was the voice of someone torn between her mission and her heart. I was raised to finish jobs, she continued. No matter how dirty, no matter who got hurt, but I couldn't finish this one not. Because you're valuable, but because you're human. You look at me like I'm more than a killer. Eli's voice cracked a little. Because you are. They sat in silence for a while as the stars passed slowly outside the window. Then, the map pulsed again, brighter than ever. The vault ship was calling him now, not just his DNA, but his presence, his decision. It was waiting for him to choose. Ravexa nodded. It's time. They docked with the Sanctum ship. The airlock hissing open to reveal a long, dark hallway filled with golden light. Alien symbols pulsed on the walls like veins as they walked. Deeper, Eli could feel something stirring inside him. His skin warmed. His heartbeat matched the rhythm of the lights. They reached the center chamber massive round, with a strange throne-like structure in the middle. Hovering above it was a sphere of golden light. Surrounded by rotating symbols, a voice echoed. In his mind, soft but powerful, "Welcome, Keybearer. Are you ready to awaken the galaxy's last gift?" Eli looked at Ravexa, who gave him a firm nod. He stepped forward and placed his hand on the floating sphere. The room shook gently, and the sphere sank into his palm like it was part of him. Images rushed through his mind, worlds dying, stars collapsing, civilizations falling, but also hope, renewal, rebirth. Then he heard another voice this time. From behind, "I knew you'd come here, Ravexa." They turned quickly. And standing at the chamber entrance was a tall alien in blood-red armor. It was her clan leader, Vorik, a ruthless warrior and the one who trained her since childhood. Beside him were 5 armored warriors, blasters aimed, eyes locked on Eli. "Warned you," Vorik said. "You fail the mission, and I'll finish it myself." "I didn't fail," Ravexa said, stepping between him and Eli. "I chose not to finish it." Vorik sneered. "He's not a person, Ravexa. He's a tool. You know that?" "No," she growled. "He's more than that. I've seen it." Vorik raised his weapon. "If you stand in my way, I will end you like I ended your brother." Those words cut deeper than any blade. Ravexa's breath hitched, but she didn't move. "I loved my brother," she whispered, "but he followed orders blindly." "I won't." Eli stepped beside her, his hands glowing slightly. "You want what's inside me." He said, "You'll have to go through both of us." Vorik raised a hand to signal his warriors, but before they could fire, the chamber itself responded. Pillars of golden light shot from the walls, surrounding Eli and Ravexa, forming a protective shield. The vault recognized loyalty, bravery, sacrifice. It rejected greed, violence, and betrayal. The warriors screamed as the energy blasted them back. Only Vorik remained standing. Barely, he reached for Ravexa with hate in his eyes, but she was faster. With one clean move, she fired a plasma shot into his chest. He collapsed, eyes wide with shock, from pain. But from her choice, the shield faded, and the chamber pulsed once more. The sphere in Eli's hand turned into a necklace of golden energy wrapping gently around his neck. The final seal was unlocked. He looked at Ravexa, eyes wide with emotion. "Why did you protect me?" he asked, "even when it meant losing your people?" She stepped close, touching the necklace with wonder. "Because I finally realized, Eli," she whispered, "you're not the treasure. You're the reason the treasure exists." Eli stood in the heart of the vault ship, surrounded by light older than memory. The energy necklace pulsed softly around his neck. Alive, as if breathing with him. The war was over. The enemies defeated, but the question remained. What now? Ravexa stood beside him, her armor cracked, her face covered in dust and sweat, but her eyes, they were clear, calm, no longer just a soldier's eyes. She looked at Eli not as a mission, not as a target, but as a man who had just changed everything. "Are you ready?" she asked softly. Eli swallowed hard and nodded. The vault was waiting. For his command, the ship around them was more than a relic, was a seed. A machine designed to awaken planets, to restart life. The ancients had hidden it away. Locking it with a key they left inside his bloodline. He stepped forward to the center of the chamber. His footsteps echoed, not on metal, but on memory. As he stood on the final platform, the map crystal hovered in the air before him. It split, opened into thousands of tiny lights, forming a massive galactic map that hovered over them. So many blinking stars, so many broken worlds, places where hope had died long ago, and now he had the power to bring them back. He reached forward and touched one of the glowing systems, a planet called Velmara. It had been lost to toxic storms. Hundreds of years ago, the moment his finger touched it, the vault pulsed, sending out a soft vibration. A gentle voice filled the room, the same one from before. Command received, preparing restoration sequence. The chamber trembled slightly as something massive began moving under their feet. Deep below, ancient machines started waking up, machines that had slept for ages. "Revexa," Eli said quietly, "I thought the treasure was power. Some hidden weapon. But it's not. What is it then?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's this," he said, pointing to his chest. "It's inside me. Not just in my genes, but in my choices, my ability to decide what kind of future comes next." She nodded slowly. "That's why they wanted to own you. Not because of your body, but because of your will." The ship began to shift around them, opening panels, crowing wings of light that stretched out into space from a distance. The entire vault ship now looked like a blooming star. It wasn't a weapon, it was a gardener of dead galaxies, and Eli was its final keeper. Suddenly, his knees gave out, and he dropped to the floor, clutching his chest. "Eli!" Revexa shouted, catching him before he fell. "I'm fine," he gasped. "It's just... it takes something from me when I activate it." She scanned him quickly, her voice sharp with concern. "The ship links to your life force. You're not just the key, you fuel it." Eli chuckled weakly. "Of course I do. Nothing ever comes free. You can't use this too many times," she said, shaking her head. "It'll drain you, maybe even kill you." "I don't care," Eli said, looking up at her. "If I can bring life back to the galaxy, even one planet, then it's worth it." Revexa stared at him, her voice breaking. "You're insane. And brave. And human." He smiled, even through the pain. "You're not bad yourself for a terrifying alien mercenary." They laughed softly, even as the vault ship sent out waves of light across the stars somewhere in the distance. On a forgotten world, plants would soon grow again, water would flow, skies would clear. Because of one human. Later, the two sat in the observation deck, wrapped in silence. Eli's strength slowly returned as the ship's systems adjusted to his limits. He looked down at the strange golden band still wrapped around his waist. Just below the navel, it had appeared after the vault opened, marking him permanently as the bearer of life. "It's funny," he said, looking at it. "All this talk about treasure, about what's between my legs. And it turns out they weren't wrong." Revexa raised a brow. Amused. "Explain." He grinned faintly. "I carry the gift of creation. Not in the usual way, but in a way the whole galaxy needs now. Something buried deep, passed down, made to unlock life again. You carry the future," Revexa said softly, "and no one gets to own it." Eli looked at her. "You never wanted to own me, no?" she whispered. "I just wanted to understand you. Then, I wanted to protect you, and now I want to stand beside you." He reached out and took her hand. "You already do, outside the ship." Starlight bent as the Sanctum vessel moved across the system. It wasn't hiding anymore. It was searching for lost worlds, broken hopes, and places where life could begin again, and at its center stood a man once ordinary. Now something more. Not a weapon, not a product, not a prize, but a human with a heart that couldn't be bought, and a legacy that could never be sold.